Freedom Land says, what knowledge benefits did you receive from your MBA? Did your MBA actually improve your business skills from what it was previously? Absolutely. That's like saying you're a carpenter, you're a master carpenter, right? Well, this whole like trade school thing, did that help you in any way? It's like, yes, I learned my craft. I was doing carpentry before at an amateur level. So you don't need to go to trade school to learn how to build a shed or something. You know what I mean? Like there's some things you can do, right? But there's a hell of a lot you do learn by learning your craft. So that's like what an MBA is. It's basically like, here's how business works. And if you don't have an MBA, you don't have any idea what you're missing or what there is. You see, the thing is, this is an old debate, and it's actually the topic of a live stream I'm going to be doing on Friday. Can you succeed despite not having an MBA, like in management? Because some industries, they really value education, like banks and financial services, as an example. They pretty much require you to have an MBA to like move you into management. And then you have other industries that they completely don't respect education. Experience is everything. I don't care that you flunked out 7th grade. You've been doing this for 35 years, therefore we're going to put you in charge of the entire company. I've seen that. I'm not even joking. That's like literally what goes on in some industries, construction. So here's the deal. If you work in an industry that's mature, it's slow moving, it's been around for a while, and it's basically settled into like, here's the standard way we do things. This is how we've done them for the last 30 years. This is how we're expecting that they'll be done in 30 years' time. This is how we do them, right? Nothing really changes. If that's the type of industry you're in, what you'll probably see is you'll see a lot of people getting hired, not from education, but from experience. They shadow somebody, they learn how that person does their job, and then they move into that job as their replacement when that person retires. And then this is what you saw them do, this is what you continue to do, and that's how you do your job. And if nothing changes, that works fine. The problem is that if something does change, right, all of a sudden because of new technology or new weird things going on with the economy or new competitors entering the market, now all of a sudden things are changing. And the old way of doing business suddenly doesn't work anymore. That's when you're screwed. Because if you learned your entire job by shadowing somebody, by seeing what they do, and then you just replicate it, and all of a sudden that doesn't work anymore, now you don't know what to change. And like what would you change? And what would the change be? You don't know. The only way to learn now is trial and error. You kind of check what other people are doing. How are you doing this? How are you doing that? And you like pick up little tips. You don't really know what's the right thing to do. That's the risk. Okay? The purpose of education, the purpose of learning something like business or any craft is because if you have to solve a problem that you've never solved before, or something you've never done before, that's where the education comes in. You're benefiting from the learning of like hundreds of thousands of other people that have studied this stuff throughout history and throughout the world, that have done all kinds of different things. They've condensed down their learning and they've given you a sort of guidebook, like a playbook. This is how it works. This is how you solve this problem. This is how you solve this problem. That's where the learning comes in. Like, okay, I've never dealt with this exact situation before, but I know from the theory and from all my training that this type of solution will be the one that's likely to work out, because people have tried everything and this is what they've seen and this is what they found, and they've taught you that principle. So you say, okay, let's start with this. The solution is usually something that looks like this. So I'm going to start with that. If you don't have that education, you don't know that. So then it becomes like hearsay. This person says do that. That person says do that, right? So an MBA, for example, or any like master's degree, I assume, will teach you that, right? That's where education complements how capable you are. Experience matters a hell of a lot. Like, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's why a lot of people rise, because they do have experience. They've done every job. So they know what the deal is. They have an insight into a lot of things. But you pair education with that, that means that they can do things they've never done. They can adapt to new situations, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I could go on, but that's basically the answer. You need both to be capable in most situations. Just having one, just having like education without any experience, that's not very good, because you are just clueless. You don't understand basic things, and you go about things wrong on a personal level. And just having experience but not having any education, that's pretty bad too. Both of these people don't realize that what they're seeing is incomplete and what they have is incomplete, but it is. And Freedom says, great answers. Well, thank you.